Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any of our platforms. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso at thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we were discussing a watch that launched in 2008. It was actually an evolution of 2007's UR-201. This is the Urwerk UR-202, and it features intelligent refinements from the display to the winding system to the very operation of the crown itself. In white gold, it's a large watch with a hammerhead-like profile. Taking a look at the case, it's 44.2 millimeters across from side to side. It's 16 millimeters thick at its thickest point, and from the back of the crown release to the tip of the case, it is 57.9 millimeters across the wrist. So now we'll throw this titanium, sapphire, and white gold watch on my wrist. You get a sense of how it fits. It actually doesn't fit quite like the ginormous lug-to-lug dimension or side-to-side dimension would suggest. It fits just fine on my wrist, and I think since it's designed to look a little bit bulbous and prominent, you could probably get away with wearing this watch on a wrist as small as 15 centimeters circumference, because you could see that the pivot center of the forwardmost lug, it's actually quite a bit inboard of the case, so it doesn't feel as broad across the wrist as the nominal measurement. That said, it is fairly thick, but it also has a fairly sloped case flank, so you should be able to fit this underneath a jacket cuff. Down the barrel one more time, and then over the top. The strap, of course, is proprietary. It's fixed to the case using screws and bars, which gives excellent resilience and security. You can see it's bolstered or stuffed to give it a little bit of volume adjacent to the lugs, then it tapers down. We have large-scale alligator leather, black with a matte finish. We have a folded edge, a monotone stitch, and then on the bottom we have calfskin. You can see this is an Urwerk factory strap in outstanding condition. The buckle, like the case back, is in blackened titanium. And in good taste, Urwerk, led by designer Martin Fry and watchmaker Felix Baumgartner, have added the refinement of a contrast between a polished pin and a satinated buckle. Taking a look at the case band, we have more contrast between satin and polish. And if you look at the face of the crown, you can see there's even a little bit of media blasting. You can also see the media blasting on the structure adjacent to the crown, which is associated with the release system that allows you to engage and disengage the crown as needed. Taking a look at the display, this is what defines a Urwerk timepiece. Satellite hours from 1997. From 2007, the satellite hours gained a significant operational upgrade. No longer just a digital display where the hour is displayed on the branch of the satellite nearest to the scale, and then the minute represented by the minute adjacent to that. See how each hour features an extensible index that follows the contour of the minute tracks. This is very easy to read. Right now it's 6:30. Now it's 6:35. Now it's 6:55. As the previous hour exits stage left, the incoming hour arrives on stage right. And you could see how the index retracts and extends as necessary. And then the hour rotates into position as it prepares to enter the minute scale. Now, adjacent to the right side, that we have a day-night indicator. So the little grid, or I should say the concentric black semicircles represent the night, and then the polished silver represents the day. We also have a moon phase over at stage left, as I like to call it. You could see satination, media blasting, engine turning, even polished beveling. So this is traditionally finished, even if the look is science fiction. You can also see just how good the depth is on the dial. It does say UR-202 on the Carousel. This is a system much like the historic Audemars Piguet star wheel, but whereas Audemars Piguet uses a more delicate star ratchet and spring pawl system, this uses Maltese crosses. So it's a much more durable carousel display than the star wheel. The star wheel is all star wheels and springs, and it's very maintenance sensitive and shock susceptible. This is not that. Now, the crown can be returned into position by simply pushing the lock back down. There's a little cam that acts against the crown that keeps it shut, so you don't actually have to worry about it popping open. When you want to release it, you pull the lock lever up, and now I can withdraw the crown to set the watch. And when you have a watch like this, you absolutely want to play with it. I will mention that because it's based on a Zenith Elite core movement, it does have stop seconds. So if you pull the crown out and leave it in a setting position, it will stop the watch. That's one of the reasons this mechanism was installed, to ensure that the crown is always returned to its flush position. On the reverse side, we have an unusual refinement. The combination of the Urwerk modifications, the display and the turbine, and the Zenith Elite automatic base is called the Urwerk UR-202 movement. The case back is in titanium. You can see we have twin aerodynamic rotors. So they are little wind turbines, almost like windmills, but their job is to slow down the winding action. And by constraining the amount of air that can flow through the system, we can adapt the winding system to our energy levels and our activity levels. So if you're a person who's very vigorous, you may want to slow down the winding. So you see how I'm able to close the airways and slow the winding system, even bring it to a complete stop to reduce wear and tear on the winding mechanism. Well, I can do that if I'm super active. If I am perhaps a sedentary person, I can also make that adjustment, and I can make the airways completely open so that even the slightest action will energize this watch's 39-hour power reserve. And then I'm a sporty person and I still want winding, but I don't necessarily want super vigorous winding. I put it in sport mode. That's how that works right there. And again, it is a Zenith Elite base, meaning it's very tough, it's very tunable, it's very serviceable. It operates at 4 Hertz. It does have a stop seconds despite the lack of a seconds hand, and because of the presence of the module, it has a 39-hour power reserve in this Urwerk application, and the watch has a 30-meter water resistance rating. One thing that's important to note is that it is actually quite well loomed. And you can see that the luminescence extends to the moon phase display and the satellite hours display, which is even more fun to play with in the dark. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.